Welcome back to the channel, Port Vale Football Club Reviews. And we're going to review the game yesterday between Port Vale and Fleetwood Town at Fleetwood's ground, which ended Fleetwood 1, Port Vale 1. I'm going to review the team selection, Darren Moore, referee, and individually go through the team from my perspective, how they played. So right, here we go. So yeah, we'll start off with the team selection that came through and my overview of the game. Team selection, when it came through, I was in disbelief, absolute disbelief. Having witnessed the game against Tuesday against Harrogate, having seen our midfield of Crowsdale, Harper and Byers struggle to make any impact against a team 20th in League Two. A midfield that just sat. Distance between the front two of Talai and Curtis. And making the game as disjointed as it could possibly be on Tuesday. Culminating in a terrible goalless draw. Surely, let's put elite manager, as he likes to be called, would rectify the problem for yesterday against Fleetwood. He would look at the situation and make changes to the team accordingly. Oh yeah, he made changes, all right. Wow. How he could justify the changes he made to that team from Tuesday to Saturday and expect a better outcome, a more positive performance, beggars belief. Well, it just doesn't happen. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. Darren Moore doesn't know what he's doing. So let's get into it. So the changes that he made. He decided to bring back Deborah. And in his post-match interview, stated that, yeah, there's nothing wrong with Kyle John, who's just giving him a rest. No. If there's nothing wrong with him, play him. He's been one of our top 4 best players this season. Head and shoulders better than Deborah in that position. Very consistent for the level. Play him. But no. We decide to rest him. Beggars belief. So anyway, Deborah comes in for Kyle John. So on the other side of the midfield 5, Calamity, Sam Hart, he comes in, and Mitch Clark gets put on the bench. So probably our best 2 wing-backs. Kyle John and Mitch Clark both don't start the game. Tom Sam comes in, which I haven't got a problem in, but he should have been playing right side of the back 3 and Kyle John as wing-back. Or vice versa, either or, doesn't matter. And then the big one for me. Tuesday, having seen that midfield 3 and the lack of drive going forward, having 3 sitters. And Darren Moore leading up to the game regarding Ethan Chislett. Oh, he was giving him a glowing reference. Says, oh, he's ready, he's fit, he's going to play a major part in our season moving forward. Yeah, I've had a word with him this week. Yeah, he's ready to go. And I'm thinking he's definitely going to play him Saturday. I'm thinking, brilliant. That's exactly what we need. We need Byers and Crowsdale in that middle. And we need Chizzy just behind the front 2. Driving forward, creating. Brilliant. I thought he's got it. He's eventually got it. So what does he do? He brings Rhys Walters in. You couldn't write it, could you? You could not write this. He brings Rhys Walters in. Hasn't played a first team game this season. He brings Reece Walters in. Get your head around that. Elite management. Reece Walters. So Chizzy's on the bench. Unbelievable. But it gets better. Gets better. So probably over the past 3 to 4 games, the best player consistently in a Port Vale shirt has been Ronan Curtis. Scored goals, looked bright, set up goals. So what do? We bring Anton Ackford in. And put Ronan Curtis on the bench. So the team selection, total disbelief. So we know what's coming, don't we? Because Walters a sitter. He isn't a driver. So you've got the same three again. Instead of having Harper, Croasdale and Byers, you've got Walters, Croasdale and Byers. So we all know what's going to happen, don't we? And it did. Now, I'm not being funny. Playing at League 2 level, when you play like Darren Moore does, you're playing for very few moments because you're looking to stay in the game as long as possible and then the last half hour try and create something. So you're not creating big moments. So those moments that are created, you've got to take them. And players at League 2 level aren't capable of consistently taking them. So this way of playing does not work at League 2 level. Because 1, you've got to be defensively nigh on perfect. And 2, any created chances you have to take because you're going to create very few. And we don't create many. If you'd have put the right team on yesterday, as he should have done in the recent games, we wouldn't be looking at 3 draws, we'd be looking at 3 victories. And the draws, like I've said on previous episodes, are what are killing us. Due to his style of play. And how boring is it? How boring is it to watch week in, week out? And the most disappointing thing is, I can understand it if we hadn't got the players to play any other way. But he is literally like the Gareth Southgate of League 2. He's got the players to put a system forward, to run over sides. We should be looking to be on the front foot from the first minute, but we're not. And it's the same week in, week out. And where was Rico Richards? Not even on the bench. Not even on the bench. Go back to Tuesday when he came on. Sparked it. Totally. Not even on the bench. So Darren Moore, absolute in disbelief. In disbelief at his team selection. Could not understand it at all. And it proved to be the wrong call. So, let's get into it. The referee, Mr. Madley, thought he had a decent enough game. The penalty was a definite penalty, foot up. Didn't have many big decisions really to make. You could tell he's refed at a higher level because the usual League 2 refs we get, he was better than them. So, yeah, he was okay. He was fine. So, right, let's give a mark for Darren Moore. He's got to have a 2. 5 is average. Below 5 is poor. Above 5 is above average. He's got to have a 2 for yesterday. I haven't got a clue. Because then, if you look at the substitutes he made in the second half, we played the first half, which was a non-entity. And then he puts the players on that he should have done from the start. Mitch Clark comes on for liability Sam. Then Ronan Curtis comes on for Anton Ackford. And then Chizzy eventually comes on. What a difference he made. And so let's go into the team anyway. Ben Amos in goal. Now, overall, he had a decent game. Now, there'll be a lot of people who'll be blaming him for the goal, but he was caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. When he got 2-on-1 like that, the ball's coming in, he either stays in his goal or he tries to close the distance down, hoping that when the cross comes in, he gets a bit closer to him so he can make an attempt to get to the ball before he gets to the centre forward. So he's in a 50-50 scenario, and he put himself in that position, positionally, before the cross came in. He put it in well. But the problem when the cross came in, it was decent to the centre forward, and he just couldn't quite get there. Nip took round him and put it in the net. But again, that just typifies how we set up. Because how we didn't score leading up to the goal, I'll never know. Point blank header from Connor Hall, hits the goalkeeper, bit of a scramble, doesn't go in. Then they're breaking on us. But the man who, for 70, 80 minutes, ultra defensive, then plays 2-on-1 at the back in Fleetwood's favour, leaving us exposed, and we get done on the counter-attack. So it's kamikaze, absolute kamikaze football. So Ben Amos, apart from that, I thought he was okay. He was okay. So he gets a 5, an average 5. Right side of the front three, Jesse Deborah. I think Jesse Deborah plays better on smaller pitches, and it's a small pitch at Fleetwood. He doesn't get exposed as much. And he was solid League 2 defender on small pitches like that. Played all right. Not his best game, not his worst. Distribution at times wasn't the best. But again, average performance. And he'll have a 5 as well. Nathan Smith in the middle. I thought he was decent. He, again, ponderous though. They were letting him have the ball when he was rolled out to him. They weren't really pressing him. They pressed him on occasions, but didn't press him a lot. And he was trying long-range passes, which aren't his forte. Just play it short into the middle. But again, we spent, along with the back three, Deborah, Hall and Smith, we did the usual thing, and Amos, playing that little triangle of passes between them all. It wastes so much time. I'd love to put a stop clock on it just to see how much time we waste playing those passes, because it never comes to nothing. It's only worth doing those passes if you're going to play through the thirds. And with those passes, you're looking for your midfield to take the ball and pass it through to the forwards. But we never do that. Very rarely. It either takes George Byers to drop to receive the ball, but majority of the time it just gets boomed up and we lose possession. So it's a pointless exercise that just wastes time. So Smith, yeah, defensively sound, as per usual. The only one that he got totally wrong was when their guy, first off, their goalkeeper, it's a hopeful punt up midfield, hopeful punt forward. He let it bounce right through the middle of them. And Graydon nearly went in. I think it was Graydon. And Amos came out and scrambled and managed to get the ball eventually. So that was his only fault. So he gets a 5, an average 5. Connor Hall. Thought Connor Hall was solid again. He was solid Tuesday. Wasn't far off my man of the match. He was second in my man of the match, but he was decent. Chaperoned that back three. Second half, got forward. How he didn't score the header. Dear me. Just one of them things. He just must have hit the goalkeeper, because he was no more than 2 yards out. But unfortunate with that. So yeah, I thought Connor Hall was decent today. So I'll give him a 6. On the right side of the middle, we got Tom Sang. Good to see him back in the side for his quality. Again, another one. Fit for Tuesday against Harrogate. Wasn't even in the squad. Beggars belief. Got decent balls into the box. Drove forward when he could. At this level, he's a decent player. And he did all right yesterday. Thought he was decent yesterday. So Tom Sang gets a 6. We get into the middle, Ryan Crowsdale. Copy and paste of all these games. Ratted around. Won the ball on numerous occasions. Wasn't a great game by him. Sat in, gave the ball away like he does on quite a few occasions. But exactly what you need in that midfield. And an average 5 for Ryan. We come on then to Reece Walters. Darren Moore after the game said he was magnificent. Don't know what he was watching. Feel sorry for the lad. Just brought in out the cold like that. When he played in the cup game against Wrexham, looked miles off it. Miles off it. Not match fit. Doesn't look fit. I thought the game passed him by. He ran around, he was industrious. But he didn't do anything. You're telling me, sort of like a Rico Richards or an Ethan Chislett, in his position playing farther forward, wouldn't have been a better option from the start? Of course it would. Everybody knows that. I defy any Port Vale supporter to tell me from the start of that game, either Rico Richards or Ethan Chislett behind to lie wouldn't have been a better option than Reece Walters. So I feel sorry for Reece, but he wasn't very good. And at this stage of the season, you have to play your best team. So anyway, Reece Walters gets a 4. He's below average, wasn't very good. I give him a 4 because he shouldn't have been chucked in that side. So then we come on to George Byers. He was my man of the match. And that didn't take much yesterday. But I think he's the one who did try. His quality shone through more than he has done. And he is a sitter. He isn't going to look amazing because he hasn't got. He's the guy who receives the ball to pass the ball on into the final third. So he's the one who receives it, who passes the incisive ball to your Chizzies, your Rico Richards, who then build it with your forwards. But he seemed to get around better yesterday. His distribution, he was neat on the ball. And he should be, because he's a level above this league. He's not a League Two player. But I thought he had a decent game yesterday. So yeah, my man of the match, George Byers, I'm going to give him a 7. So then we come on to Sam Hart. Why? Why? When you got Kyle John, not even in the squad. You got Mitch Clark, substitute. So what do? Play Sam liability hard. And obviously it was the right decision because he brought him off at half-time. Should never be around the Port Vale team. It's not good enough. Distribution, shocking. Can't defend. And like I said previously, here's what he is on the tin. He's a Sutton United, Southend United level player. He's a National League player. Teams out of League Two do not get promoted with players like Sam Hart in their team. So for his first half performance again, did nothing. He gets 3. So we move on to the front two. Talai, I thought Talai, he wasn't far off my man of the match yesterday. I thought he was class. I thought he was total class yesterday. He wasn't dropping, he was trying not to drop quite as much into the midfield to pick it up. But he was running with pace and power. He just wasn't getting the service. And that's because we've got 3 sitting midfield players. When Chizzy came on, situation changes. The dynamic of the team changes. We look a different animal. And that brings the best out in him. I thought his penalty was class. And I thought, yeah, he had a cracking game. A cracking game. Lawrence Talai. So he gets a 6. Above average. Then we move on to Anton Ackford. Wasn't the game for Anton Ackford. How Darren Moore couldn't see it's a Ronan Curtis game. Anton Ackford plays better on bigger pitches because Anton Ackford has got pace and likes to play off the shoulders and like played in behind. That postage stamp of a pitch at Fleetwood is not an Anton Ackford pitch. And so therefore you got the performance that you got. He was a non-entity, he was anonymous. He did nothing. Absolutely nothing first half. Brought off quite rightly. And the man should have been on that should have been on from the start. Ronan Curtis. So Anton Ackford for me, he gets a 4. He was below average. So then you look at the substitutes that came on. Mitch coming on for liability Sam. I thought Mitch, class at this level, should have played from the start. Drove forward as much as he's allowed to. And that's the problem with this. Everybody, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the player. You look at the players, they're not doing it. No, it's not the players. They're told to play in a certain way, in a certain system. How many times you see Connor Hall driving forward, second half, out of position on numerous games? How many times does he do first half? He doesn't, because he's told not to. So yeah, Mitch Clark played well. Played well, he come on, should have been on from the start. Gets an average 6. Ronan Curtis, gain endeavour. Class when he came on. A lot more spark than Hackford when he played the first half. He gets a 6 as well. Then you got Chizzy when Chizzy came on. Again, should have been on from the start. Won the penalty. He drifted across the front line, was causing chaos. Drifting in them pockets between the midfield and the forwards. Brought him on too late. Should have been on from the start. But yeah, had a good game, Chizzy. Then you got Harper come on for Walters. I'm beginning to think Harper's not for me. Obviously, got a bee in his bonnet that he wasn't playing from the start. He was anonymous when he came on. That language style of his. He didn't really put much of an effort in. Did nothing. We need a performance from him. He needs a performance when he comes on next time. And then the guy came on from Crystal Palace for Sang. Big Jerry, and not enough time for him to really do anything. So that was that. And at the final whistle, you just thought to yourself, wow, that's another 2 points dropped. Another 2 points dropped. And if you look at it now, we're in 6th position on 58 points. We dropped 2 against Tranmere, in my opinion, 2 against Harrogate, and 2 yesterday. You add all them up, we're 3rd, 2 points in front of Doncaster, with games in hand. Unbelievable. But no, we're in 6th. Because we're drawing too many games when we shouldn't. And we're in 6th. Grimsby in 8th are only 2 points behind us. So we're 2 points off falling out of the top 7. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So anyway, yeah, I was thoroughly disappointed yesterday. And we move on to Colchester on Tuesday, which is going to be a difficult game. And they're on a good run at the moment, in 9th place on 52 points. But we know what sort of game that's going to be, don't we? And so, thanks very much for listening. Like and subscribe, if possible. And hopefully we'll get a performance where I can be more positive about my reviews. Because at the moment, if you look at the quality of football that is on show, for a side that has quality in that division, it is literally unbelievable. How many games have we played this season when you think, yeah, the whole of the game, that was a good game? I don't think I can think of one. I can only think of halves of games. Wimbledon at home, first half. Chesterfield game, probably as a whole, the best performance. Newport away, but they were down to 10-9 men. Played well there. But you look at some of the better wins at Milton Keynes Dons, at Notts County. They were backs to the wall. Defensively minded victories. And the remainder of them. So we're looking at what? 3 or 4 hours of football in 34 games? Wow. So anyway, yeah, thanks very much for listening. I hope you like the review. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time after the Colchester game.